Hey, here's a rare update from me. So I just wanted to utilize my soapbox for something because I do believe that this is something that someone needs to talk about, because it seems like, amid coronavirus and like everybody, I understand that there is a lot of mayhem and panic and all these things. Well, at one point it's believed that the virus is more susceptible to certain people and not susceptible to certain, age groups or whatever. It's still a public concern. Look, my thoughts really don't matter. Like, if you were to ask me, I'd say it's better to be safe than sorry, to just quarantine yourself and stay home and stay away from the general public. Those are just my thoughts. So on that note, it's time to call some people out. MAC Cosmetics, in particular, was a company that I used to work for. I used to be a makeup artist there a long time ago. So with that being said, I still have some former colleagues that work at MAC still, and not only that, there are, a plethora of MAC artists who are still practicing makeup artistry. Now, in light of me being a former employee, I like to keep up with the MAC culture and the MAC updates. They say once a MAC girl, always a MAC girl, and that in some light is true. Keeping up to date with recent news is not so positive, and it's not news that I particularly like to see or keep up with. So there is a particular group out there that I am a member of on Facebook that has all of the MAC artists from the past and present. And again, we stay up to date with updates within MAC and, MAC culture and structure and collections and all these things. It's all fun because, you've got former MAC artists from the past who still mingle with current artists, and, we stay up to date with fun stuff like that. It wasn't until today that multiple MAC artists are, posting their updates within this group, and something that's just really disappointing is the fact that as pioneering as MAC once was with artistry and the business of makeup artistry, something that's upsetting and uncomfortable to see is that MAC Cosmetics is one of the last cosmetic counters among many other cosmetic counters, so it's not just MAC. They're one of the latest cosmetic brands, and again, not just them, there are other brands out there that are still, up to this point, staying open in particular department stores. And I really just don't understand how you can be one of the most powerful cosmetic companies in the world, not just locally, but in the world, and yet, you still put your employees at risk. Now, by the time that I publish this video, I'm pretty sure that MAC will catch enough heat that they'll actually, conform with everybody else in the world who are actually protecting their staff. And it's not just retail or cosmetic counters, it's, all these other jobs. But, with makeup artistry, it's even more vulnerable if you really think about it. I mean, you're over here having to test and demo on lips, on cheeks, and the CDC is over here warning us not to touch our face, to continuously sanitize our hands, not touch our eyes, our mouth. It's just crazy that, how ironic that makeup artists actually have to do that in their job. So what is the point of makeup artists or, retail workers, especially in the cosmetic counter area? What is the point of having them on if it's not even suggested to do it on yourself? What makes you think that it's okay for them to do it on someone else? At this point, it seems a bit unlawful to stay open. So this is a word out to malls, to freestanding stores, to cosmetic counters everywhere. You really need to escalate this. Like, as if you're a manager, if you are an RM, if you are a third key, you really need to make a big fuss about this, because this is not responsible at all. I cannot believe up to this point that, malls have persisted to keep themselves open, especially in the area where it's susceptible to hygiene. cosmetic counters of anything. I mean, you're getting on people's faces, they're coughing on you, they're, breathing on the product and the testers. It's just insane. Again, once I publish this video, the things might change really, really quickly, but the only department store that I know of that has done the responsible thing a little late, but still responsible, is Nordstrom's. So Nordstrom's has announced that they are closing for a good 2 weeks and giving their employees paid time off. Now, as a former MAC employee, I have worked at a flagship store, which is a freestanding store, as well as a counter. So I used to work for MAC within Macy's, and the way that pay structure works is Macy's pays just a little bit of the MAC employees or MAC artists' hourly wage, not all of it. So again, I question, what is the point of having your staff out there susceptible to the general public, for what? I mean, I'm pretty sure that you're not selling that much right now. People are quarantined in their homes, for crying out loud. So this is as of Saturday. Ziba Beauty announced that they are going to be closed for the next 7 days. Now, as a precaution, as well as Glossier. These are the only two cosmetic companies that I have seen recently in these updates that has assessed the threat much earlier than anybody else. So that's really important to keep in mind. Glossier, Ziba Beauty. Now, I know that Glossier has probably a bigger presence, but definitely still not as big as MAC, which is so disappointing. As a previous MAC employee, that MAC would be so lacking in action and delayed to protect their staff. Retail stores such as Apple have, closed their stores and given their employees and contractors paid time off. This is the responsible thing to do. Again, if you compare something like the Apple store, which is computers and it's just touching, could you imagine how much more susceptible these makeup artists are to people, to the general public? This is crazy. So there's a post, so there are a couple posts in the group that I mentioned, and although this is comical, it's also very sad that this is funny, but yet it's in real time and it's going on. One of them being, Matt gonna have us out here in black gas masks doing matches with alcohol swabs. Hashtag take your ass to work. And then the next one, Mac figures, send them all in, they all die. We hire new people and lower the hourly rates. Oh, that's so sad. That is so sad. Guys, it should never get to this point where MAC employees are joking about their own deaths like that. That's so crazy. The next comment, Belk stores have announced that until further notice, our hours Monday through Saturday are 11 to 6 and 12 to 5. I have been pretty shocked by the lack of communication from MAC. I did not expect Belk to be the company to step up and take action. On Thursday, they shut down any makeup applications and we went to a touch-free policy, and now starting today, these new hours will take effect. I literally never thought I'd be able to brag on Belk as a company, but here we are. These are strange times. The CDC, like all of these big body organizations and governmental precautions telling us to stay away from public events. We're literally canceling concerts, we're canceling festivals, we're canceling, all these even small group, like 200, like all these group gatherings, and yet a mall that can have foot traffic of over 100 at a time is still keeping its doors open. Again, this seems super unlawful. A person who replied to this comment was, the lack of communication is very eye-opening and disheartening, and I agree. Nike, another company closing all stores in US and Canada. Lush Cosmetics, stating that due to what is going on, that they're closing from March 16th to the 29th. So that is another cosmetic company to add to the list of 3, Glossier, Lush, and Ziba Beauty. And then one of the latest posts is probably one of the most ridiculous things I have ever seen ever. So in this post, it shows the MAC displayers all empty, no testers. So that's no eyeshadow testers, no lipstick testers, no nothing, no nothing. And it states, we are no longer allowed to use testers. Anyone else? We should just close. I understand Macy's isn't closing yet, just shortening hours, but this is ridiculous. MAC should let us stay home like every other MAC employee. Macy's pays a percentage of our salaries, so for now we're supposed to work until we get sick. Update. 1 hour later, now we have to put all the testers back, just not use them, which is really insane and ridiculous. What are you doing, MAC? What are you doing? Like, what is it worth the scrutiny? Is it worth the backlash and the heat? What are you doing? It just makes no sense whatsoever. And the same person who posted this stated that she only had 6 customers since they opened. So again, what is the point? Another response to this post actually is an Italian MAC artist there, and she states, guys, I speak from experience. I'm from Italy. We close only when our government shut down all unnecessary shops. Please do not touch anyone. Stay at least 40 inches from people. This is from Italy. The entire country of Italy is shut down. Another person is talking about Ulta, and as you know, MAC Cosmetics is also in Ulta, and she states, I'm in Ulta, and they only reduced hours, which helps nothing. True. So, I mean, you still leave a little window for the general public to enter. What is the point? And then another one from Ulta. Ulta has not pulled testers yet, which is nasty. It's just straight up nasty, guys. That's disgusting. There is a pandemic going on in the world, and you're not gonna pull the testers? That's gross, bruh. Like, and I want an update after this. I want to know that, you know, MAC and all these cosmetic stores everywhere, Sephora, MAC, everywhere. I want to know that these testers are thrown out and put in the fire, because honestly, like, is it worth chancing your testers, like, possibly coming in contact with someone who is infected? Oh my God, that's just like, that's a whole other tangent. Maybe that's another video. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about some hygiene post COVID-19 stuff. Another comment states, it's literally irresponsible for non-essential retailers to stay open at this point, and I feel some kind of way about FSS. FSS stands for flagship stores, are closed, but partner locations are screwed. So meaning that, like, the freestanding stores, like the MACs that you see at the airports, or the ones that are not connected to a particular department store. I understand we work in that department store, but from how I've always understood it, we work for MAC. MAC needs to stand up for its employees, I agree, who are on its payroll, and order the temporary closing of all partner locations. This is ridiculous, like, seriously absurd. And look at this, they're like showing ways of how, you know, they're coming up with creative ideas. And it shouldn't even get to that point, honestly, coming up with creative ideas of how to swatch or tester out these particular products without touching a human. You shouldn't even have to think about that, honestly. Like, if it gets to this point, this is embarrassing. Another person, all MAC stores in Canada have closed. I believe I work at a counter at the Bay, so we aren't closed, unfortunately. Close already. This company is just disgusting to me at this point. I've been with Estee Lauder since 2010, and I'm floored. So disappointed that they put their staff at risk for $1. Customers always have the opportunity to purchase online. They closed my store and others that I know of, but OMG, customers aren't happy, associates aren't happy. Close the store. I agree. You guys, this is disgusting, honestly. Close the store. Close the store. You should have done it like over the weekend when it was prospected to be the most busiest. What are you doing? Comment from the UK. Stores in the UK are still open, and testers are being used both freestanding and in department stores. I just, like, you are a global cosmetics company, you guys. You are the pioneers at one point of this. Like, I don't understand. Like, one communication, it takes one email to send out to all of your stores in wake of this pandemic. This is just insane. This is insane to me. It's crazy. Is this, like, this is a simulation, right? Another good point, the government is saying to self-quarantine, stay in. How is it keeping retail stores open and compliant with that? Are there actually people in the store shopping? Another disgruntled employee, the fact that they think stores will run as if nothing is going on is insane. We are furious. There's no way we can give exceptional service feeling like this and scared to take a virus home to our families. That's so greedy of Macy's. Macy's, you need to close your store. MAC Cosmetics, you need to close your store. Any other department store or cosmetic companies still requiring their retail employees, and especially cosmetic counter employees, to go to work is irresponsible and it should be unlawful. And that's another thing too. I have not seen anybody share communication from MAC listing that, like, hey, if you are susceptible because you have any illnesses or, you know, diseases or anything like that, like, or if you have poor health, you know, please stay home. Like, I haven't seen any of that communication. This is so irresponsible. This is effing ridiculous. ELC should step up and take ownership for their employees' safety and health. If it's cost share employee, ELC should cover the cost. Christ knows that if they have recouped enough to making so much redundancies, let the retail partners' own staff man the counters if they insist on trading. Disgusting behavior from money-greedy CEOs who can work from home. That's true. And that's true because you know all these corporate people, you know they're at home with their laptops. They're not at counters, you know, on the field or anything like that. This is so disgusting, honest. I don't understand why malls, and this is true, all malls should be closed by now. Like, it makes no sense. You're telling us to quarantine and then the malls are going to be open? All malls, why are they even open? The money. But it should be unlawful, especially if we're in a national emergency. I'm all for this, understanding both sides and situations, but this should really be unlawful and only voluntary at this point. This is a huge liability for Macy's, and this is true. So more ammo for, you know, these retail stores to close, because you're taking on a liability more than you are doing yourself a favor by a sale. All they need is for one employee to get sick or one situation to happen due to them not allowing employees to protect themselves like the rest of us, and boom, lawsuit. Same with Sephora. We put our testers away today and apparently every other location's closed at 6 p.m. closed, or in the process of letting their employees know about closing. And some locations like mine are still open today, regular hours. We are still waiting on what to do. Cosmetic companies are just greedy. Worry more about making money, worry less about their employees. And that's really sad. It really is sad that, you know, these major companies, I mean, MAC Cosmetics hits home for me because that's where I used to work. That's where I built myself up as an artist. And it's just so disheartening that they were amongst all these other companies, Sephora, Ulta, you know, who are still open, willing to make a buck. It's crazy. I mean, like I said, by the time I post this, I'm not sure what will change. Hopefully they come to their senses and actually send out an email and let all their employees know that they should stay home, as they should. And if I am talking to any MAC cosmetic artists out there, or if you are a cosmetic counter artist, I would definitely urge you, from a person who comes from a corporate world, I would urge you to go to your higher ups and to express your disdain, whether or not it is already communicated that you guys should stay home, or if they haven't communicated that just yet. You definitely need to voice your concerns and your anger on how you were put at risk during a pandemic, for crying out loud. If you're worried about makeup within a pandemic, you got bigger problems, including the executives and the higher ups of a cosmetic company. That's all I want to say. You know, if you are a manager out there, or if you are a corporate person who can have a say in this, you really have a big responsibility to do so. It just sucks seeing friends go through that and having to worry about, you know, public safety due to the pressures of their job. It's just so, it's angering to see that. Anyway, are you a cosmetic counter artist? Do you work in retail? Do you work in cosmetic retail especially? Let me know what your policies are looking like, what your department stores are looking like. For all you cosmetic counter managers out there, RMs, third keys, you know, all these people, you really have a huge responsibility to be the voice for your employees, including you, MAC Cosmetics, Sephora, Ulta, all these big companies who have yet to take any action for their employees. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I'll talk to you in my next one.